Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, wonderful individual personality you. Today, I would like to speak about our attitude, feelings, and perception of this world is very in alignment with what type of soul health we have. SOUL, of course. For when we are inwardly active, utilizing our thoughts to direct ourselves towards, both healing and loving, nurturing, and beautiful thoughts, the feelings will also follow, and so does our actions over time. Of course, as of now, we are more or less, feeling ourselves a little separate because of we have our senses and are orienting ourselves space-wise. But in reality, we are all part of this whole. Just like, I love this example, if you cut off your finger ceases to be a finger. It becomes part of the mineral. It starts ebbing away. It's the same with us if we were taken out of this earth. We are just as much part organism of this earth as this earth is a living being, a living organism. We are very much so belonging here, and we are for good and for ill effects. When we work upon ourselves as individuals, the results and consequences of building moral foundations of when you are loving, understanding, and come to a certain harmony with our perception and the experience of life and so on, the more we are allowing in healing, nurturing, beautiful forces. The more we are, jealous, envious, or are lying, or are in general entertaining dubious ways of being as to gain an advantage in life, is in itself unhealthy and affects the whole. As Rudolf Steiner uses an example, the more we do it over time, it is like an octopus or squid believing it to be safe in the ink mush it is splurting out, but in the end it is a dark cloud of whatever that we are entertaining in that regard. It becomes part of our aura in a sense. So the more we are inwardly fighting and striving towards following the true, the good, and the beautiful, the hierarchy, the moral, the loving, and finding, despite all the ugliness and despite all the turmoil and chaos that is in this world and that comes out of certain individuals and so on, we do not fall into the temptation of becoming like that. That is no excuse to fall away from. Just because the world tells you something doesn't mean that we are not capable of introducing new seeds. It has happened for ages now, and it is about finding out what is necessary and what is healthy and what is fitting for this age, for this incarnation, for this present, cultures, and so on. For the more we are reminding ourselves that we are not separate, we are all connected together. In the highest sense of the word, individuality is becoming less and less relevant. But we need to be in a specific space with a specific body, with specific interests and so on, to cultivate certain weaknesses and strengths that otherwise we couldn't do without a physical body in a specific point of time, on a specific area, and so on. And that is where karma and reincarnation come in. As mentioned, we all belong where we truly belong at the moment, karmic-wise. We need to become responsible for our actions, our thoughts, and our feelings. Of course, there are certain things that are more important than others, but it's about cultivating the inwardness, the aliveness, the awakeness, whatever otherwise is kind of falling away when we pass through the gate of death. What you have changed yourself with soul-wise, becoming a more upstanding, loving human being. And the understanding, the interest, the enthusiasm, and the love for this world and for all human beings and for all life. That is what you will take with you throughout to the next life, becoming a foundation, a starting point in a sense. And even if we only manage small increments, we still take it step by step and being grateful for the small changes we manage to do for ourselves. For the changes is, well, it's easier said than done. Some things that we need to take our time with, dedicate ourselves to slowly but surely transform, and it might take lifetimes. We ourselves know what is, if we are a little awake and aware, what we can work upon with ourselves and what we can, well, in general, follow as not only matter of principle and as matter of rules and regulations, but it is about a living, direct, dynamic cooperation with reality and those around us. So, to hold oneself strictly to these consciously and getting to become aware when we act out of character, so that at least when one is awake enough, one notice small things that necessarily, in many ways, for many might be trivial or banal or mundane, but it is far more than that. By looking for the beauty in even the smallest of things, but at the same time also know the reality of the, well, adversary forces. The temptation spiritually, the temptation materialistically, and the temptation to more or less give away your humanity completely. Your humanity is your ego, your I. From your consciousness, your I, everything flows out from. And you as an individual I capital are working slowly and steadily on your astral body, or your interests, passions, your dreams and aspirations. That is when you are working upon the astral world. When you are starting to make certain health regulations of your body, and also active thinking and feeling and direct experience of our body, but it is not necessarily, let's say, a damage to our physical being, but it might be, let's say, when you drink coffee, you are affecting your etheric body, your life formative forces to go a little quicker, and so on and so forth. It is from relation to a rock to water, and from water to air. The reasons why the astral body is the easiest to work upon is because it takes the least amount of time in relation to the other ones. Although it is by no means a quick fix on anything, that is not what's meant here. But it is about the air is always in movement in a sense, and so are the water and the earth. But the water and the earth is much denser and takes much longer. So whatever we work upon in the astral world will become etheric and then physical over time. That is why we cannot in the future times hide our true being. It will become our countenance, our outer form. Our inner being will become our outer. Which is why we do work to cultivate inner foundations of love, beauty, the true, the good, and the beautiful, for love, for beauty and arts, but also for spiritual science and spiritual and esoteric practices, to come to know what we are as human beings, not taking other people's words for it. Find out for yourself. Utilize your own faculties to become an active scientist of the spirit. It requires time and a long amount of time to go past. You cannot find out what a human being is based on 10 years or so. No, after a lifetime of experiences, you come to realize certain things if you reflect back. Although to reflect back requires us to do it continuously. For that, then it will become an ability for us to survey our past, our experiences, how we react, how we are behaving, and so on. It affects us immensely. For all we have experienced is part of our soul and spirit, of our memories, of our being. And the more we work upon our being to become more honest, loving, warm, and empathic, meeting each other in the middle from individual to individual. And as I say, you find out for yourself. Study. Don't believe that the world and life is a pamphlet you can write into a short story. If we were to write books about whole of reality, we would never end. For reality is a constant development. And we are its, centerpieces at the moment. Instead of making ourselves trivial and, what should we call it? Helpless and small and a dust in the relation to the universe, who cares? You are living your life actively, consciously. Then you in relation to the grand universe and you feeling small about that is irrelevant. For you are important. You are part and partial of this world. And we, all of us human beings, are, as we would like to call it, an aspirant to become part of the hierarchy. As of now, we have 9. We have the Seraphim, Cherubim thrones, first hierarchy. And then we have the Kyriadites, Dynamis, Exousiae, or spirits of wisdom, spirits of movement, and spirits of form, the second hierarchy. And then we have the Archai, archangels, and angels, the third hierarchy. These all relates both to outer sense perceptible reality, but also inward comprehension and consciousness and different variations of perceiving things. As I will give you a perfect example right now. We have our consciousness soul, our mind soul, and our sentient soul. When we observe a flower, consciously, observing it directly, we are in the consciousness soul. When we turn away from that flower, close our eyes, and holding it as an image in our minds, that is our mind soul. How we feel about this plant while observing it or while thinking about it is our sentient soul. That was just an example of 3 varieties of perceptions within our own inner being. Now we also have thinking, feeling, and will. We also have the I, astral, etheric, physical. But one needs to know the relations between them and reality, what they are, how we perceive them, how they affect us, how we affect them, and so on. And it is a joy in itself because it becomes a journey, it becomes an adventure, and also a scientific endeavor. For when you work upon yourself to become a more moral, loving, nurturing human being, you are indirectly and directly working upon all of mankind. For just as much as all of the chaotic, unconscious, or subconscious in many ways, and half asleep and chaotic turmoils affects the whole, and so does the good, the true, and the beautiful. So when you work upon yourself, you work upon the whole. For when you can bring love to this world, and not only to yourself alone, for when you truly, in the objective sense, have divine love for yourself, you have it for everyone else. You cannot exclude these things. At the same time, we need to find these things and make ourselves acquainted with them, as to, well, build relations to all of this. And I will leave you with this today. So thank you so much for listening to me, you beautiful, beautiful individual. May you be protected, guided, blessed, and loved by Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, ancient masters of old, ancestors from every incarnation, and the hierarchy. And may you be provided for with all that you need to survive, live, thrive, provide for with all that you need to survive, live, and thrive, being creative, inspirational, and healing to the world, so others can follow when the time is right and the courage is as most high. And may you be safe and sound. Love you so much. See you. Goodbye.